Afternoon, YouTube. Got another vintage one in. This is a 1997 Kawasaki KE100 two-stroke. And what we need to do on this bike, it has drums up front and drums in the back. And it is just mechanical. It's all just by, and as you can see, there's no brakes almost. So I don't know if the springs are shot inside or if the pads or the shoes are gone. The front is also drum and mechanical. See, there's no reservoir anywhere. So what we're doing on this, and I have no shock fluid. So what we're doing is rebuilding the shocks, putting fluid in there, and the front forks rather, and rebuilding the drum brakes. And hopefully they work after they're rebuilt. All right, gonna get started. Okay, so I'm starting with the front wheel. What you're gonna need is 3/8 ratchet and I believe it's 12, where is it? It's worn off, but yeah, it's a 12 millimeter, there it is, 12 millimeter. And on the other side, you need a 14 millimeter box wrench, okay? And that's to take the axle out. It's a castle nut, so you're gonna need your needle nose pliers to take out the cotter pin. Castle nut is 14 millimeter, and the other side is 13 millimeter. And then, well, before you do that, you have to take off the brake arm, the brake actuator, okay? And that is 10 millimeter. So you're gonna need a 10 millimeter socket for the one end of it, and then a 10 millimeter box wrench for the other end of it. And basically, this is through there to hold it on, to hold this arm onto there. Sorry I'm wearing gloves, but this stuff is all, as you can see, everything is just coated in grease, very greasy and nasty. So, okay, so you take that off. You take out the castle nut, and you take the castle nut off. You take the axle rod out. Make sure you put your bike up on a jack so that it'll stand there. So I have it right now. The wheel is free, but the bike is still standing up. Okay, so the wheel itself is the drum, and then this whole assembly is your shoes and your springs. So they look, I don't know, I'd have to look at the other ones. They don't look terribly bad. I'm wondering if the reason the brakes didn't work is the all the fluid, the oil, the fork oil went down the forks and went, because this looks real greasy inside here. I don't know if you could see that. It's all shiny and all around here. I'm wondering if that's the problem. If I just clean it up with brake clean, I'm going to put new shoes on, but I'm wondering if it's the brake, rather the fork oil that just didn't make the brakes work, because it was all greasy inside there. So I'm going to pull the shoes out, the new shoes, and see what they look like. Stand by. Okay. So here's a new shoe. Exactly the same. Let's look at these again, side by side. They don't look much different, right? So I think the problem was the oil getting down in there. So we're gonna clean it up with brake clean. I'll put the new shoes on because it's apart. Might as well just put them in there. and I have new springs, and he can keep the old ones as spares. And then we'll put it back together again. Okay, so we have the old shoes are off. These are the old shoes and the old springs. And when you look at them, they look fairly decent. Here's the new ones on. And if you look at the thickness, sorry about the light, let me take the light off. If you look at the thickness on there and the thickness on there, it's almost about the same. So like I was saying, I think the problem was all this grime. The fork oil leaked out of both forks, ran down inside here. This thing was just dirty everywhere. So they're back. These are the new ones on there with brand new springs. Now, what you have to make sure you put in correctly, you can't probably see it, but this is a, right in there in the center is a, you see the threads? You probably see the threads right there on the left. That is your speedometer. And there's a gear right in here. The gear comes out. You gotta make sure that gear is seated in with the teeth going to the fork side, the outside of the wheel. And then there is this washer here. This washer here. These teeth have to hook into that ring gear, and then the outer teeth have to hook into the wheel, if you see like that. Now I cleaned up, I used brake clean, and I cleaned up the drum on the inside here. It was filthy. It was filthy. I'll show you. Here's some of the towels, but all of this nastiness is what came out of that drum and the caliper, the outside unit. So I'm going to put it back together again. Assembly is a reverse of disassembly. So we're just going to put this, like I said, make sure that washer goes in the right spot so it fits correctly. And we're going to slide the drum, or rather, we're going to slide the brake unit inside the drum, and then we're going to put the axle back through. And there's two washers. There's a washer on the outside and a washer on right over here. And we'll reassemble. I'm assuming usually the torque settings on something like this are 50 to 75 pounds, somewhere in that range. I don't know. So I'm going to go with 75 to be on the safe side. So old ones are out. I'm going to show them to the owner. He probably can keep them as backups. And then I'm going to put it all together again. And then we'll move on to the rear wheel. Okay, so the brake assembly is back together again. So like I said, make sure you put that washer on the ring gear, and then make sure you have the slot on the drum in the right spot so it all goes together. And then once you're putting this back on, right here, if you can see that, there's a slot on the left fork. Make sure your brake assembly slots into there, and then run your axle through. This is the bolt side, and then the nut side, castle nut side on this side. And then, like I said, we're gonna do it to like 75 foot-pounds or thereabouts. And then I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna put the brake lever back on. But that's where we are, and I'm gonna stop for tonight, and I'll start working on it again another day. But that'll be the end for this part of the video, and then we'll start it back up.